Hey, what's up, guys? It's Adam. I am right now a college runner, doing it solely self-coached and on my own. I'm making this video as well as all these other videos just as kind of like a documentary for myself, but hopefully it helps other people, gives them some insight into what it's like being a college athlete or a younger athlete, as well as just running some of these races and times that maybe some other people are looking to run. Because personally, I look up to other YouTubers or professionals, see what they do, try to mimic that, and see how that affects my own performance. So today I have my computer with me with some Boston Marathon info up. Just finished the run. This is the 24th of April. So we got, what is that, Thursday? And now it's been about 3 days since race day. Got some time to kind of process, think about how the race felt for me, and kind of just breaking it down a little bit. I won't be going over everything. If you guys had any questions like about the race day experience, maybe just worries. So down the line, this was the 2025 129th Boston Marathon, but say it's next year. Some people are looking back for videos to figure out sort of what they could do, or they have some questions. Feel free to drop a comment or reach out. Um, but yeah, starting it off, race day was Monday morning, 10 a.m. I don't know if I have the weather report. Let me see if I could pull up some weather here. But it was about 60 degrees or so. Sunny, but not like hot. And then we had a little bit of a headwind towards the end. I would say probably about getting into Brookline and Boston, so about 20-ish, 21 miles in after Newton Hills. Um, Overall, I'd say the race went really great for me. I mean, I would like to think I was in a low 230 fitness. I've done a bunch of workouts that indicated that. I'll pop up right now a couple of my workouts that I did so you guys can kind of see what I did to run the time I ran. But total time was 2:37:47. Overall, pretty happy with that. This is my third marathon. My previous PR was 2:45:48, and that was on a downhill, like easier course for sure. And so I ran 8 minutes and 1 second faster. So huge PR, just over 8 minutes. Cannot complain about running faster and being better because that's part of why I do it. Um, but at the same time, I was hoping a little bit more. I was hoping for 235, sub 235, give or take. But with that being said, it's not an easy course. There's a lot of factors that go into it, and it's just not that optimal of a race to run, to be frank with you. I mean, if you're taking the shuttles from Boston Commons and you're in the first wave, you got to wake up before 6:45, take the shuttles. So you're up for, at least 4 hours before the race. So that makes the food difficult. I prefer being up for about 2 hours before a lot of my races. I'm used to the 7 a.m.s, wake up about 5, have a little breakfast, go out, do my warm up and whatnot. This race, I did not do a warm up at all. I got dropped off in Hopkinton, walked about a mile to the starting village area, had to be on my feet for a while because the porta potties have pretty long lines. So that was another thing to consider is like, the restroom situation isn't the best. There's plenty of porta potties. It's just that you're going to be waiting for a while for the most part. Like I showed up to the athlete area 8 a.m. There was like almost no lines. You get towards 8:20, like just 20-ish minutes later, a couple more shuttles get in. The lines are pretty crazy. So, I mean, take it as you may. I think, there's, as you walk to the start line, there's a CVS near the start line. There's a ton of porta potties there, but there's lines, and you're going to be waiting for a bathroom essentially, unless you go really early. But, essentially really early means like 8 to 8:20 a.m. or earlier. So that means an hour and 40 minutes before the race, which you should be eating a little something or drinking something. Um, you'll probably need to use the restroom. So just consider the fact that you're going to be on your feet for a decent bit before the start. So I walked about anywhere between a mile and a half to 2-ish miles before I even started the race with, I would like to say, including the walking time and just the time on my feet for over an hour before the race started, as well as up for 4 hours. So not the most optimal, but insane experience. Starting line's crazy. They have the corrals line up. So I think there was 9 corrals total. I think 4 waves. I was in the first wave, corral 3. Honestly, didn't start as late as I thought I would. I started done time about a minute after wave 1, corral 1. So better than I thought. I wish I was up more because I was really struggling to hit low 6 just because there was too many people around me, which it was good because I didn't do a warm up. Normally would do like about a mile easier or so before a marathon and some drills. This one I just didn't. It was also really hard to find space for that. So maybe if I do it again, I would do a little warm up. But yeah, starting area is not insane. There's a ton of people around you, so keep that in mind. The whole entire race, there's a ton of people cheering, ton of people in kind of the race around you, so you'll never be alone. It won't ever really be that quiet. That was something that I found a little difficult towards the end of the race because as you're getting tired and there's a lot of people around, it can help. But it also kind of got to my head a little bit because you're basically listening to people cheering you on for however long you run the whole race, plus just all the people around you. So it was a lot. It was different for me. I haven't done a race of this size and this caliber, so that was new. Um, but enough of like the ranting. I'll break down the race real quick. I could throw up some splits on screen in just a sec, and kind of just get into a little bit of the race itself, and then a little post-race reflection. I'll try to keep this video somewhat short so that it's at least digestible. And again, I'll probably make some more videos about this. And if you guys had any questions, comment down below. But all right, total time starting off 2:37:47. Pretty happy with that. Race started. I got out splits wise. First mile was on the watch 6:09. So I tried to keep it easy, and again, I was stuck behind a lot of people. Um, wasn't too mad with that, especially considering I didn't warm up. I mean, I wanted to average about 5:50, which I ended up averaging about 6. So yeah, not the best start. Looking at how the pros ran and how a lot of other people ran that ran faster times, I think I'd probably just start faster and just honestly pray that I don't die as much. But yeah, 6:09, 5:59, 6 for the first 3 miles. So definitely on the slower end. I mean, 18:10 basically through the first 3 miles. Not the most ideal. I mean, I'm glad I warmed up into it and I was able to make the first 3 miles feel easy. But what I underestimated is the fact that this course has constant rolling hills. You're very rarely running flat throughout the whole entire Boston Marathon. You'll have little sections, and other than the last like mile or 2 miles, pretty much the whole race is constant, like slight up, slight down. So keep that in mind. Then going through 5:50, 5:55, 5:51. Right now, I'll just put the whole block of a Strava screenshot with all my splits. But yeah, no, I mean, looking at it, it was solid. Like I was able to progress down, and at mile 9, 10, 11, 12, that's 4 miles of about 5:47 to 5:50. And then even actually 13, 14, 5:45, 5:49. So came through half about 117 and a half, right on pace for 2:35. Felt pretty good. I had a weird glimpse at mile 13, halfway about, where it was one of those feelings where you're almost like about to pass out. That was really weird. Don't really know what caused that. It caused me to stress and really worry in the moment. At the next water stop, I chugged just like one of the little cups of Gatorade that they had on course. Just pray that I would, you know, not bonk and not feel terrible, because at that point, feeling like that, I was really concerned because I could push through the last couple miles. But, a half marathon to go and you feel like complete shit that's just a terrible spot to be in. So that was random for me. And that's why I tried to slow down a little bit. Then I hit Newton about mile 16, 17, and I slowed down. But based on Strava splits from my watch, I was still keeping between the 6 to 6:10 for all of Newton. So I was really happy with that. Once I got up Newton, the Newton Hills and Heartbreak Hill, I just didn't really feel like I can get my legs back under me. Like my rhythm was super thrown off. At that point, I was just really tired as well. I would have hoped that I could have clicked some 540s, and if I had, that could be what 1 to 2 minutes faster. So that would have got me closer to even splitting the race and running about 2:35 to 2:36. Um, wasn't in the cards. I'm not too mad about it because I still was able to hold on based off the splits you guys see. 23 to the end, 6:03, 6:06, 6:08, 6:10, and then 2:34 for the last like half mile based off watch. I will say that the experience of the race was awesome. I highly recommend engaging with the fans and the crowds. I had family and friends at miles 10 in Natick, which crazy busy. Mile 17 to the bottom of all the hills in Newton, and 21 at the very top of Heartbreak. So that helped me immensely. But coming up Heartbreak, everybody's on the left side of the road. I was literally the only person on the right side because I knew where family would be. So with that being said, I didn't really try to take the tangents and run the course super optimally. I mean, I believe my watch that I ran, almost a quarter mile past the marathon. It says I ran 26.47. I entirely believe that. I would say obviously there's always a margin for error, and who knows, especially as you get into cities, how accurate the GPS is. But yeah, no, I think I definitely ran extra because I was zigzagging a bit during the first couple miles. I think being a little bit more patient would have helped. But additionally, I was cheering on people, like I said. I mean, Wellesley Scream Tunnel, I think that was like mile 11 or so. I was just high fiving a bunch of people, pumping up the crowds, smiling a ton. Tons of little kids that were just, had their hands out, and I was trying to give them a lot of high fives and just cheer them on. And I don't know, just trying to make their day. Because I know if I was there and in their position as a kid, that could make a huge difference and make me really happy, make my day. So I was kind of being like, hey, I want to engage with them because I think it's fun. And I think it makes it a better experience, not only for myself, but for the other people that are coming out to cheer us on. So, yeah, end of the day, it's not the most race optimal. I wasn't taking tangents. I wasn't just trying to focus solely myopically on myself. I was trying to, be very present and enjoy the moment because that race experience is, I mean, ridiculous. I think I highly recommend doing it if you have the ability through charity or qualifying. I mean, it is definitely a privilege to be able to go out there, afford running it, but just make it work with your schedule. But man, that was ridiculous. But for the whole race, I mean, I'm pretty happy with my splits. Essentially, it was like at the end of the day, it was kind of like start off a little slow, pick up, and then up the hills, and then kind of hold a little constant. So at the end of the day, I ended up having somewhat of like a sort of upside down bell graph, almost like sort of a U shape. And you know, I'm I'm happy with it at the end of the day because, like I said at the start of the video, 8-minute PR. Um, can't complain. But yeah, I think if I were to run it again, based off how the professionals ran it and how I've seen other people that ran it fast, I would have, still started off a little quicker, but definitely on the slower end of my marathon pace. But then just kind of sent it from the start. I think Boston's a course where it's tough because it's so hilly and a lot of it's net downhill that it beats up your quads. Because when you're running downhill, it's beating up your quads. You run uphill, it's going to still beat up your quads. But I do think that taking advantage of the faster first half is almost essential. I mean, I think in terms of for mentally running a marathon and in general, it's nice to negative split. But I think Boston's just a course that it's so difficult due to the fact that the second half is where basically all the uphill is. Um, and not to mention, it's just cumulative fatigue. Like a marathon at that point, your glycogen stores are going to be so much more depleted than the beginning that, it's just going to be tough regardless. I think, yeah, had I ran it again, I mean, I did run a faster first half, like about 1:17:30. And I guess that would have been, what is that about? Like a 1:20 second half. I would have maybe tried to positive split it even harder or, just go out harder and see if I can hang. I think that's the difficulty about Boston is a lot of people can't. A lot of people do start off hard, but I think you need to keep it reasonably hard. I think, you don't want to be more than maybe 5 seconds under MP for the first half. And even that's a stretch. I think just, starting off more of MP almost as if you were going to like even split it and then see how much you can hold on for is probably one of the more ideal ways to run Boston. Um, but at the end of the day, I'm still happy with how I ran. And I think I'll take that shiny PR of 2:37. I have Chicago in October, and the goal there would be hopefully sub 2:30. I was hoping for about 2:35 or so with Boston. And so, who knows how much time you'd shave off just due to course conditions and how difficult Boston is. I mean, I would say it's anywhere between like 90 seconds to like 3 minutes. I think anything over 3 minutes is a little bit of a stretch, but it also does depend on the running style and the runner themselves. Some people just really thrive with kind of flatter, more consistent courses. Some people really thrive with the hills and really just crush Boston. And so, personally, I think I'm decent at the hills and I'm a pretty strong runner, but I don't think that this course is as optimal. And I think if I were to run the same exact way as I did on the same day at Chicago, that probably would have been about a 2:35. I think I probably could have kept it even. So I think there's still ways for me in training to get better and to get ready for sub 2:30. During my peak week of Boston, I got sick, so I missed one of my workouts during peak week. My planned 22-mile long run workout, my big workout, obviously less mileage. And then the following week, I didn't do my workout at the beginning of the week because I would normally do 2 sessions a week and then a long run. So I think that definitely did have an effect, but I think at the end of the day, it was minimal. And I hope that at Chicago, I am able to put everything together and hopefully, not have to miss those training days, especially during peak week. If it's during paper that you get sick and have a little something, that's honestly pretty common, and you could afford to, cut some runs or make them shorter. But I think during peak week was just a time that is very inopportune due to the fact that it's like essentially once you get past peak week, everything else is like easy, so to speak. I mean, your intensity shouldn't really be increasing much. Your volume's obviously decreasing. So, yeah, I think looking ahead at Chicago in my next marathon build, I would like to change that factor. But yeah, looping it back to Boston, total time 2:37:47. Like I've said, happy. Definitely enjoyed it. I will soak that in. Gonna go back to the chalkboard, see kind of what I could do to get my time down a little bit. But the overall experience was amazing. The crowds were alive the whole entire time. Very rarely were there ever like nobody on the side of the roads cheering on. At the very end, you do have to walk like a little while, at least a quarter mile, to get out of the finishing chute area. But they take pictures, put the medal on you. They have the heat sheets, give you water, Gatorade, some food. So, a lot of amenities at the end of the race. And then, yeah, there's a million and one shakeout runs before. There's a decent bit of post race parties. So there's a lot to do kind of in that lead up to the race in that weekend, but also a couple activities post race. And then leaving, going home, I left Tuesday, a day after. Logan Airport was ridiculous just because there's a lot of Boston stuff there, but you'd see everyone wearing their Boston Marathon jacket. So just such a surreal experience because normally, in running, it's not one of those major sports where you see a lot of people flaunting or necessarily just getting that sort of attention that, basketball or football or other mainstream sports would get. So that was kind of like, you see people walk around in their jerseys. That was basically that sort of feeling with running. And that's very unique because you don't see a lot of people kind of wearing really cool running gear and noticeably being a runner. So definitely a great weekend if you're a running nerd and enjoy it. But yeah, that was kind of my overall thoughts and feelings surrounding the race. I know this was more of a little bit of just a rant. And hopefully some people can take things out of this from based on my experience. There's definitely a ton of stuff that I missed. So again, if there's anything else, maybe I'll have something in future videos. If not, just leave a comment down below or reach out to me and just kind of, ask whatever, because I'm sure in future years or whenever people will have some questions about it. And I had plenty of questions leading into it. And luckily I had some people I reached out to or via podcast videos, Reddit, whatnot. So yeah, feel free to drop something. And then, yeah, just give it a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Again, I know this format isn't, maybe the most enjoyable to watch, but if you did kind of want to hear just my perspective on the race, and you enjoyed that, yeah, I'm glad you did because this was just such an unforgettable experience for me. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it.